there, and welcome back to the testing of Le Chateau's system. So the next form we're going to be testing is the stock control form for in the kitchen for updating the quantities of the stock on the system in the database. So the first test that we're going to be running is that the list view, once opened, is filled correctly with all the items from the database. So let's start with that one. We're going to open up the stock form now in the top menu, update stock quantities, and appears the list view. So the test is to run the form and compare it against the database and see if all items are listed. So you can see here that the ID goes from number 1 all the way down to, if we just drag all the way down, it's all the way down to 31. So we can look over here on the database in the bottom right, the food ID goes from 1 all the way down. We're going to have to show all to expand the full database. Let's just run that. So it goes from 1 all the way down to 31. So that shows that all the data has been pulled across from the database. So this test number 1 has been successful. Test number 2 is that when an item is selected, the name of the item appears in the top right hand corner of the box. So we can test that with a few different items. So an example of the first one is, let's go for the beef bourguignon. So when that is selected, the name of it is pulled through and displayed above the new quantity and between the name of items. We can test this again a few times as by doing another item and it simply pulls through. So that's test number 2, also proved successful. Test number 3 is that when you put in a new quantity and update it, that the database is updated as well. So we can do this by, let's select one of the items. Let's go for the pork belly. And we're going to put in a quantity. It's already got a quantity of 18, so let's put a quantity of 20 into the system and update it. And that goes through the system. And now we can have a look across on the database, but let's just quickly refresh it just to make sure that everything's gone across smoothly. Let it load. So it was the pork belly we updated from 18 to 20, and it is displayed here, so a quantity of 20. So that test is also proved successful. Another one of the tests is that once an entry has been updated, the view needs to update itself so that it isn't repeated multiple times. We can use the data we just filled in earlier on with the pork belly, and we can see that it has updated itself and filled in the 20, as opposed to previously having 18. So that there is also step 4 successfully printed. And we are able now to test the last test, which is that you can print out the current stock list. So this allows the staff to print out a stock list and then to go through and to mark down on them whether the quantities are correct on the system. So when this is tested by clicking the print current stock button, and we should expect the receipt printer in the top right hand corner to jump into action and to print out the receipt. So let's test that here. So we can see that it has printed it out, and that when we look at it, we can see that all the items are put on there with their name, their ID, the quantity currently on the system, and a gap so that they're able to fill in what the current quantity is. So it does that for each of all of the items, and then it also has a date listed at the top so that if this bit of paper gets lost, it can be found again another time. So that there's all the tests for the stock control system form. So they all proved successful. Please look at the other videos to see the testing for the other forms and the other windows.